Well, it's a blessing to be able to come to you today on the Emmanuel Discipling Network in our SBC conversations. Brad, I hope, in fact, I'm planning that this is the last conversation. I've had a lot more conversations than I thought I would put together this little series, but I'm thankful to be joined by Brad Graves and Pastor Graves he has agreed to have his name put into nomination for the office of First Vice President of the Southern Baptist Convention here in just a couple of weeks, actually less than a couple of weeks. It'll be here before we know it. And so, absolutely. So Pastor Graves, certainly we appreciate your time and you taking a little bit of time away from Vacation Bible School right here at the end of your day with the children to come in and visit with us. And so I'm going to just start by just giving you the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about who you are and your journey in ministry.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Thanks for putting this together. I appreciate it. I saw some of your others. And so thanks for putting yourself out there. You didn't have to do this, something you just wanted to do. So I appreciate you and taking this effort. And it's good. It's good. We need that. And I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to tell my story as quickly and succinct as possible because people don't want to hear it. But it's not simple. All right. So let me go. Here we go. From Springdale, Arkansas, born and raised, got saved at 18. I went to the ministry a few months later at First Baptist Springdale. I was at University of Arkansas. Then I went to Southeastern out in Wake Forest, North Carolina. I was there 4 years, and I was on staff at First Baptist Springdale as an intern, missions and college. I was at Southeastern for about 4 years, and while I was there, I was education pastor of a church. I was an itinerant preacher, worked in a mailroom, worked at a Christian bookstore, did about 8, painted houses and all those things, right? And but during that time, there was a emphasis to plant churches in New Hampshire. And so a lot of people said, I'll go, but I went. So I went to New Hampshire, and I met my wife in North Carolina, by the way, Becky. Her granddad pastored Wake Crossroads, which is a really prominent church there in Wake Forest. So we went to New Hampshire. Paul, you probably wasn't ready for all this story.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
In 1999, Nehemiah Project, North American Mission Board, that was my first of 3 appointments with NAM. And planted a church middle of nowhere. It's called Raymond, New Hampshire. We actually started a bowling alley. My DOM had gathered a couple families together, and we went and launched in the middle school, moved to a bowling alley, moved to the high school, bought land, built a building. I was there 6 years. And in 6 years, God just blessed, and the church grew. NAM called me and said, hey, will you start training church planners for us in New England? And so I became the church planner trainer for New England. And I coached about 100 guys over the time I was there from New England's Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. I mean, the spectrum, the diversity is just, it's crazy. So, I'm in a room training church planners with an Anglo, an African-American, and a Hispanic. And it's just, to train all of them at one time, it was a very stretching time. Well, after their 6 years, and we had our first 2 sons at seminary. So we have twin boys who are 26 now. So there are 4 of us. NAM called, asked me to go on staff with them full-time. So I went to my second appointment, Director of Strategic Focus Cities, Cleveland Hope. So before there was SEND, it was called SFC. And that's how I'm dating myself here. And so they sent me to Cleveland, Ohio. And I was Director of Church Planning for Strategic Focus Cities. And was there about 2 years, and God just blessed once again. We planted a lot of churches. We raised a lot of money. We assessed a lot of church planners. But I was gone a lot. In fact, I was gone about every 3rd night. About a month of 30 days, 10 days, I'm on the road preaching, raising support, teaching. I spoke out of seminaries and Bible colleges and all that. And it was fun. It was good, but it's definitely a calling. And I did a 40-day fast there. And God's laid in my heart, it was time to get back on the front lines. To me, that's front lines, but to me, church planting and pastoring is literally the front. And so I called NAM, called some people, and the next SFC, Strategic Focus City, was San Diego. Mm-hmm. So the church I was from is First Baptist Springdale Cross Church, and I called the pastor and I said, hey, listen, will you help me out? And so you come help me launch a campus, and I'll help support you. So I'm back to Cross Church, and I helped them launch the church at Pinnacle Hills there. And so NAM got behind, I was there for 1 year. NAM got behind me. Cross Church got behind me. All the Baptist Church got behind me. First Baptist Concord got behind me. First Baptist Spartanburg, Prestonwood. All these guys supported our church plant. And we left in 2007 to Cross Church to go to San Diego to plant another church. But what I didn't tell you is my wife got pregnant during that time. So we had 7 years of infertility. We couldn't get pregnant again. But right before we left, Paul, we lost our baby. She's buried up there in West Arkansas. So here we show up in San Diego. We have plenty of financial support, plenty of partners. I mean, mission teams coming. We have cute little adorable twin boys, but we're just broken.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've told this story many times. In fact, my wife literally just wrote a book about it, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But so we're there 3.5 years, plant 3 churches, start speaking again on the church planting circuit, and mostly out in the West Coast, start doing some conferences. I walk in the garage one day, and we have a son, by the way, out there, Levi. He's 14 now. He was born out there in San Diego. I walk in the garage one day, my wife's just crying. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking, what I do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But she was just sad. She's like, I just miss her. Can we move back to Arkansas and so I can be near her? I'm like, well, just give me a couple months. Let me see what I can do. So I go back to Arkansas, and a church in Joplin, Missouri, I went through a major split, and it just really got down to nothing. And they asked the pastor I'm from, Ronnie Floyd. They said, well, can you recommend a pastor who's a strong leader who will walk us through this, who's a good shepherd, and recommended me. And from the day I met my wife crying in the garage till I moved there was 3 months. God just opened. But on my 5th Sunday there in Joplin, the EF5 Joplin tornado wiped out our town. And so we're just like, dear Lord, what is this calling you've called us to? Yeah. So the next 3.5 years we spent just rebuilding. But I'm telling you, Paul, was good. God just blessed. Our church just blew up. We saw so many people come to faith in Christ. Our evangelism and our disaster response was phenomenal. Our discipleship could not keep up with it. We worked so hard, but God was gracious, and we had our daughter, Gracie, was born in there. So that about 8 years ago, this church called. And my desire was to be in a Southern Baptist church. All these were Southern Baptists, but I really wanted to give back. And this church, I'm here at First Baptist Ada. I mean, Michael Catt used to pastor here. O.S. Hawkins used to pastor here. Robert Naylor used to pastor here. Wow. Rebecca Naylor, she grew up running down, not this building. This is a newer building, but the old building. Drumright, he was a professor of Greek at Southwestern. Steve Dighton's from here. I mean, all kinds of people came in and out of this church. And in the old library, I saw cassette tapes from you name it, they preach. Because we're just about 2.5 hours north of Southwestern. So anyway, we've been here 8 years, and it's been a great time. Now we're in the giving end. We're giving, we're sending missionaries, we're giving CP. I love it. My oldest boys are 26. They are both in the ministry. One serves at Cross Church in Fayetteville as an assistant college pastor. The other one serves Manual Baptist in Shawnee. My 14-year-old boy, Levi, he wants to be a worship pastor. He's great at it, plays football, 8th grade. Gracie is 8 years old, 2nd grade, cheerleader, and all things girl. Yeah, and awesome. I've been married 28 years. And she just wrote a book, just came out, about the loss of our daughter, Isabel, and her journey through that, and how her best friend, who's also married to a church planter, best friend since birth, and he's a great guy, Cody Devers. His wife Lori and Becky were best friends since they were childhoods anyway. Wrote a book together about how they walked each other through that. So, and my wife is the treasurer of the SBC Minister's Wives Luncheon. Oh, wow. So this year, it's got 1,600 women, and our church and Becky and I have bought a free copy of that book. So all the SBC women at the lunch will get a free copy of our story. So anyway, here's my story. I told you it was long.
Well, it's a long story, but that's one of the biggest blessings of doing these conversations. You get to, we've all got a story, and if you know the Lord, love the Lord, you love hearing what God has done and brought other people through as well, and how He's used them. And so I appreciate you sharing the ups and downs.
I love to tell what God has done, and I'm not embarrassed to, but it's hard to leave out details like that. So thank you for letting me share that, brother.
Absolutely. Well, for us, of course, here on this, we certainly want to get to know you, but also we want to know why in the world you allowed your name to be put into nomination for first vice president. What led you to that?
Well, I appreciate that. I felt honestly, the honest answer was I felt led to do it for a long time,
Mhm.
but I kept saying no, 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 no. And I've had people ask me the last several years, can we do it now? Can we do it now? Can we do it now? No, no, no. About a year ago, a couple years ago, 2017, I did allow my name to be put in for pastors conference president.
Yeah.
Down the road, it's going really well. But then HB Charles uh, entered the race, and got some calls from some guys I respect. And I called HB, and we went back and forth. And I'm like, you know what, HB, I'm just going to bow out. I'm going to clear the path for you. And so the Florida Baptist paper did a great article on it. I bowed out, got out of the way. Baptist Press picked it up, I think. And so I'm going to clear the path. You'll be the first African American to be president of this. It's historic. I don't want to be anything in that way. So I thought, I'm done. I'm never going to run for anything again. Yeah, I'm done. That's not me. I just want to serve. I just want to go on mission trips, plant churches, disciple people, raise my family, preach the gospel. And but then, like I said, people kept asking me. And anyway, about a year ago, I had simple little surgery, and I end up losing a ton of weight. Paul lost 194 pounds today.
Oh
I mean, I
my
was big.
goodness.
Lost. Yeah, it's been crazy. And
Wow.
God's opened a lot of doors. I'm coaching about a dozen pastors right now on weight loss, and I've lost a lot of weight. But at one point, it almost took me out. About end of July, I was at New Orleans convention. I was exhausted because that place was so huge, that convention hall. But about July, August, I went to the hospital, passed out. They put a PICC line in me to revive me, and I preached in that PICC line backpacked about September.
Mm.
And after that, God just really got on my heart about all the things that He had laid me to do that I hadn't finished. And
Yeah.
so this year came around about a month ago. I finally couldn't say no any longer. I said, you know what? I'll do it this year. My friends and this text group just jumped on it. They're like, yes, finally. And so they got some ground. They just did everything. And
Mhm.
next thing you know, I'm on a Zoom with you. It
Yeah.
just
Well, there you
happened
go.
really quick.
Yeah.
It
Well,
happened
that's,
really quick, but it's been developing for a long time.
I got you. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's good. Well, I want to give you the opportunity. Certainly, you have worked with NAM. I mean, you've been a church planner. You've done all these things. So, I mean, some of this goes without saying, but I want to allow you to have the opportunity to express a little bit of your love for the SBC. And so the next question. Then, of course, I gave you these questions ahead of time. You know this is coming, but as pastor of a growing church, how would you describe how cooperating in the work of the convention helps your church accomplish her mission?
Amen. Hey, appreciate that. I'm a strong CP guy. I was a strong CP guy because I was the recipient of
Oh
it.
yeah,
Get my salary 3 times. I was a name appointed missionary 3 times.
yeah,
So I'm on receiving end of that. And now, and then I always gave where I was at, but now we're able to give, and we give very generously here. I've been here 8 years, and our average, you take all of our year, our average is 9.99875. We put 10% in the budget, but gifts come in late and everything kind of fluctuates a little bit. So I'm just a strong CP giver, and I just believe in it, not just because it's money going out, but because churches gave that paid my salary.
that's right.
My son, St. Noah, at one point were the WMU Kids of the Month,
Oh
WMU Kids
wow,
Missionaries of the Month.
yeah.
We got cards from all across the
Mhm.
country for that. I went to seminary. My son Noah went to seminary. We're recipients of the CP funds there. So anyway, I love what Southern Baptists do together. Disaster relief, you name it, and NAM, IMB. Here at my church, last semester, I had 3 guys on staff who were going to Midwestern
Yeah.
seminary, online. We got people in our church, like I said, Rebecca Naylor grew up here. She was an icon in International Mission Board. Same with some NAM people. So anyway, I say all that to say, one of the Southern Baptists, one of the things we do well is cooperate.
Yes.
And I don't want to see that go away. And I
Mhm.
believe that decision makers should come from strong CP churches.
Yeah.
Just a core conviction, all I have, because we got skin in the game and
Absolutely.
be a part of that. And I think the door should be open for everybody
Yeah.
to participate. But yeah, I mean, if you want to be a decision maker, you really need to be part of paying it forward for other people. So
Mhm.
I hope that answers the question. But I'm just a strong CP guy. I've never thought about not being anything other than that.
Yeah. Well, that is great. Well, of course, that kind of leads us into our next questions. We think about our convention. What are What do you see as the most pressing issues that are facing the convention today, and what can we do or should we do to address them?
Yeah, I appreciate that. The most pressing issue is always going to be lostness,
Mm-hmm.
lostness. We can't
Yeah.
we can never let anything else supersede that, because that's our Great Commission. And so that's like, we got to keep NAM funded. We got to keep IMB funded. We got to keep our seminaries cranking out and generating qualified men and women to serve. We got to keep our state conventions operating, especially the missional aspects of it. I mean, we need all that. We can't let that go down. So this mechanism, this operating mechanism of CP and these entities with their vision that are Great Commission related, we have to have. That's first and foremost. We can't lose that. Additionally, to hit closer to home, what people are going to be asking about, we've got a couple of big issues on here. We've got the law amendment, but I saw in your notes, you're going to ask me about that in a second.
Yeah, go ahead. You can jump right to it. It's fine if you need to.
I mean, you have to, people are going to be coming to Indianapolis here 10 days from now, right? And they're going to be thinking about two things. What are we going to talk about? Well, three things. Who's going to be the next president? And it's always the election year is always fun, right?
Yeah.
Law amendment and sexual abuse. Those are the three big things that I feel be people's minds. The president election will come and go. When it comes to the sexual abuse thing, I'm grateful for all the work they've done. I am. I'm a firm believer, Paul, that every single Southern Baptist church should do background checks for every single staff and every worker that works with kids. I mean, outside my door right now, we've got hundreds of kids here. We got over 100 workers here for day camp, and we background check all of them. Does it cost? Yes. Would we do it without them? No. We absolutely have to. And I was talking to my friend Troy Bush the other day, and he's talking about how churches who need financial help to get them checked. Let's get them scholarships. Let's get that done. So that's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Every church plan I've ever done, I've never not, had that done. Never superseded that. So we'll see what happens with the recommendations as those keep coming down. When it comes to the law amendment, you're going to ask me in a second where I stand on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you just go ahead. You can beat me to
Right,
it.
man.
That'd be fun.
My part of it is it's a doctrinal issue.
Yeah.
So because it's a doctrinal issue, we only have truth to stand outside on. So I'm for that because it's a doctrinal issue. It's a doctrinal. Does the Baptist Faith and Message already speak to the fact that only men should be pastors? Yes, but this strengthens it, in my humble opinion, that qualified men can only take that title as pastor. Well, the title, the function, like Al Mueller said, I was in Anaheim. He said a couple of years ago, pastor means pastor, and the functionality and the title. Yeah. So I believe it strengthens it. And so for those reasons, I have not been convinced for any reason not to vote for it. And I've read a lot, listened to a lot. Yeah. Now, is there concern about the polity reach of it, the credentials committee? Well, of course. I mean, we're always concerned about people overreach their committee. But however, don't forget, though, the credentials committee cannot remove a church.
That's right.
All they can do is just bring recommendation, and the messengers can remove the church. So, they can say anything they want, but at the end of the day, the messengers have that. Only people that have that authority. So for that is, I really don't see a reason not to pass it. I think there's going to be polity issues, but you don't know what they are until they present themselves. And when they present themselves, we're going to dialogue and discuss it. We're going to fix it. So it really feels like the next proper step at this time. Yeah,
absolutely. And I've talked with guys that are on both sides of that. And of course, I have been pleased with in visiting with our presidential candidates and also Michael Clary, who also is running for vice president. I've been very pleased with the conservative nature of the responses on that, even if they weren't for the law amendment. They at least they agree with the thoughts behind it, the theology, the doctrines behind it. And so I've been encouraged in ways that maybe some others haven't by visiting with these different guys who are running for office or running for president and other leaders in just the overall conservative nature, of the men who are aspiring for these offices. So I've been thankful for that.
I believe most of my friends I have friends on both sides, like you just said. Most of them are voting for it. Some of my friends who are not for it are not going for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
But and not for this reason.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think it just shows the grassroots.
Mm-hmm.
The rubber meets the road. Pastors like you and pastors like me, who have people are going to walk up to them and say, "This is what the Bible says. How come we're debating what's so clear to me as a layperson?"
Yeah.
So anyway, but that being said, I think we represent who we really are in this. So I think it's going to pass. I really do. I think there's going to be some chatter. There always will be. There's going to be some maneuvering, I'm sure, to amend it and kick the can down the road another year or two. But I have a feeling that it's going to pass as it is.
Yeah. Well, the last question, just give you an opportunity. Is there anything else you'd like to share with those who may watch this video? Any encouragements you'd like to give?
Yeah, I mean, I will. When it comes to the Southern Baptist Convention, I'm gonna be very clear. Like Adrian Rogers said in his famous sermon clip, God doesn't need a Southern Baptist Convention. I don't need a pastor Bellevue Baptist Church.
No.
And I believe that. God doesn't need us, but we sure need God. We sure do. And
Absolutely.
so I think it's an honor to be able to serve. And some guys run these things to lead, some guys run to serve. I'm running to serve. I just want to serve my convention. It's been good to me. I've given my adult life ministry to Southern Baptist causes. I've been all across the world in missions, did pastors conferences all across the world. And everywhere I go, people know the Southern Baptist Convention. I know what we stand for. I know that we're evangelistic, and know that we believe the Bible has authority without any mixture of error. So we know those things about us, and it's said about us, and I want to keep that going. So voting for me, whatever. I just want God's will. I told my friend the other day, I'd rather lose inside the will of God than win outside the will of God. I just want God. I was talking to Dean and Cerner the other day because he's nominating Brad Witt, and Brad Witt's nominating me. So we got the circle thing going. Like, man, I just want to please God.
Yeah.
I just want to please God. And I feel I'm supposed to do this. So we're going forward with it, Paul.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I don't know. I just love my Southern Baptist Convention. I want to serve them. And been going these things for 20 years. I think my first Southern Baptist Convention was when James Merritt was president in St. Louis years ago. I've been going ever since. So got a lot of friends there. So I'm grateful.
Well, the good thing about it, I think you're running against a pretty good fellow too. I think both of you kind of have the same heart. And so I think that what's going to be whoever leaves Indianapolis a little disappointed maybe about not having been voted in, you're going to come right back to your church and you're going to keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to continue with your Bible school just like you are when we get off this call, and God's going to continue.
You can't next week. Bible school this week. You can't next week. By the way, on that note, David Crowther, a good friend, we had dinner in Anaheim a couple years ago, and we have a mutual friend, Steve Dighton, and he graciously, when he saw that I was running, I texted Steve, and I got a call from David a couple hours later, and he's like, Lord's just laying in my heart to probably not do this. And he wanted a strong CP candidate. And so he's like, now that I'm doing, I'm just going to back out. And just kudos to him. He has so much integrity. He's such a great guy. He's doing a great job in Wichita. He's killing it up there. So anyway, shout out to David for that. And you did. I know that you taped one of these, but it didn't pop. But
I didn't post it. He asked me not to post it because I think that was kind of in the works at that time, and so he asked me to put a pause on that. But I enjoyed getting to know him.
He's great.
Certainly seems like a great guy.
I haven't met Mike Clary yet, but we started following each other on Twitter, so I'm looking forward to meeting him in a couple of weeks here. But anyway, thanks for doing this, man, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate anything you do to encourage pastors. Keep it going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Talk to you later.